In the late summer of 1945, guests have gathered to celebrate the wedding reception of Connie, the daughter of Don Vito Corleone. Known as the godfather among friends and associates, Don Vito, the leader of the Corleone mafia family, along with Tom Hagen, the family lawyer, and Vito's adopted son, is listening to various requests for favors. According to Italian custom, no Sicilian can refuse a plea on his daughter's wedding day. One of the individuals seeking a favor is Amerigo Bonacera, a mortician and a casual acquaintance of the Don. Bonacera's daughter has been brutally assaulted by two young men after she rejected their advances, and the attackers received only minor consequences for their actions. Don Vito is taken aback by Bonacera's request, noting that he has distanced himself from the Don due to the Corleone family's criminal activities. However, given that the Don's wife is the godmother of Bonacera's daughter, Vito uses this connection to extract loyalty from Bonacera. Ultimately, Don Vito agrees to have his men deal with the assailants in exchange for future services if needed. Meanwhile, the Don's youngest son, Michael, a decorated Marine who has just returned from World War II, arrives at the wedding and speaks to his girlfriend, Kay Adams. He shares insights about his family, explaining their criminal background while assuring her that he intends to distance himself from their activities. This wedding scene is crucial as it introduces Kay to the main characters. Michael's older brother, Fredo, who is somewhat slow-witted, finds Michael at the party in a drunken state. Sonny, the eldest sibling and the one expected to take over the family business, is also present, though he is known for his quick temper and infidelity, as evidenced by his sneaking off with one of Connie's bridesmaids. Also in attendance is Johnny Fontane, a famous singer and the Don's godson, who has come from Hollywood to seek Vito's assistance in securing a movie role that could revive his dwindling career. The head of the studio, Dak Waltz, has denied Fontane the part, which closely resembles Johnny himself and would elevate his status. The Don also receives congratulations from Luca Brasi, his fearsome enforcer in the criminal world. He also fulfills a request from Nazarene, the baker responsible for Connie's wedding cake, who wishes for Enzo, the man his daughter loves, to gain American citizenship. After the wedding festivities, Hagen travels to Los Angeles to meet with Waltz, who angrily refuses to cast Fontane in the role. Waltz harbors resentment because Fontane had seduced and ruined a starlet whom he had been nurturing for stardom, with whom he also had a romantic relationship. Ultimately, Hagen tries to persuade Waltz, but the studio head remains obstinate. The following morning, Waltz awakens to find something wet in his bed. Horrified, he discovers the severed head of his prized $600,000 racehorse, Khartoum, lying beside him in a pool of blood. Upon Hagen's return, the family convenes with Virgil, the Turk Sollozzo, who is supported by the Corleone family's rival. Sollozzo requests financial backing as well as political and legal protection for importing and distributing heroin. Despite the lucrative potential, the Don declines, explaining that his political connections would be at risk if he were to enter the drug trade. The judges and politicians he has allied with over many years would sever their ties with him if he ventured into narcotics. During the meeting, Sonny, who had previously pushed the family to enter the narcotics business, challenges Sollozzo's claims that the Corleone family's investment would be safeguarded by the Tattaglia family. In response, Don Corleone sends Luca Brasi to infiltrate Sollozzo's organization and gather intelligence. While at the meeting, Luca bends down to let Bruno Tattaglia light his cigarette, but Lozzo stabs him in the hand, and an assassin garrots him shortly after. Not long after his meeting with Sollozzo, Don Corleone is shot in an assassination attempt right outside his office, leaving everyone uncertain about his fate. Fredo Corleone is assigned to drive and protect his father since Paulie Gatto, the Don's regular bodyguard, called in sick. Unfortunately, Fredo proves to be ineffective, fumbling with his weapon and unable to return fire. When Sonny learns that their father has been shot due to Paulie's absence, He orders Clemenza to locate Paulie and bring him to the Don's house. Sollozzo kidnaps Tom Hagen and convinces him to present Sonny with the same deal he had offered the Don. As Tom is being released, Sollozzo finds out that the Don has survived the assassination attempt and angrily instructs Tom to persuade Sonny to accept his proposal. Sonny, however, rejects the offer outright, issuing an ultimatum to the Tattaglias: either turn over Sollozzo or face a protracted, bloody gang war. The Tattaglias refuse and respond by sending Sonny a Sicilian message: 2 fresh fish wrapped in Luca Brassi's bulletproof vest, signifying that Luca Brasi sleeps with the fishes. Later, Clemenza takes Paulie and one of the family's hitmen, Rocco Lampin, for a drive in Manhattan. On their way back, Clemenza asks Paulie to stop the car in a secluded area so he can relieve himself. Rocco then shoots Paulie dead, and both Clemenza and Rocco leave the body and the car behind. Meanwhile, Michael, who the other mafia families see as a civilian untouched by mob affairs, visits his father in a small private hospital. He is shocked to discover that there are no guards around him. A nurse explains that the men had been interfering with hospital protocols and had been asked to leave by the police just 10 minutes before Michael arrived. Realizing that his father is again being targeted for assassination, he calls Sonny for help, moves his father to a different room, and stands outside to keep watch. Michael enlists the help of Enzo the baker, who is at the hospital, to pay his respects. Together they bluff away Sollozzo's men as they drive by. Soon after, police cars arrive, bringing the corrupt Captain McCluskey, who brutally punches Michael in the face, breaking his jaw when Michael suggests that Sollozzo bribed McCluskey to set up his father. Shortly thereafter, Tom Hagen arrives with a private detective's license, allowing him to carry weapons for the protection of Don Corleone, and he takes the injured Michael home. In retaliation, Sonny orders the hit on Bruno Tattaglia, the eldest son and underboss of Don Philip Tattaglia. Following the assassination attempt on the Don at the hospital, Sollozzo requests a meeting with the Corleones, with Captain McCluskey accompanying him as his bodyguard. When Michael volunteers to kill both men during the meeting, Sonny and the other senior family members find it amusing. However, Michael insists he is serious, arguing that eliminating Sollozzo and McCluskey is in the family's best interest. Since Michael is perceived as a civilian, he believes he won't raise suspicion as he acts on behalf of the Corleones. Although hits on police officers are generally off limits, Michael contends that McCluskey is a corrupt cop and thus a legitimate target. He also implies that reporters who are friendly with the Corleones would relish exposing a corrupt police captain. Michael meets with Clemenza, who provides him with a small pistol, carefully wrapping the trigger and grip in tape to avoid leaving any fingerprints. Clemenza instructs Michael on the proper way to carry out the assassination and advises him to leave the gun behind after the job is done. He expresses pride in Michael for being a war hero during his time in the Marines. Michael also reminds the family of his service and heroism. Clemenza has full confidence in Michael's abilities and assures him that everything will go according to plan. The strategy is for the Corleone informants to discover the location of the meeting and place the revolver there before Michael, Sollozzo, and McCluskey arrive. At a small Italian restaurant before the meeting, McCluskey pats down Michael for weapons, but finds nothing. After a brief conversation in Italian between Michael and Sollozzo, Michael excuses himself to go to the restroom, where he retrieves the hidden revolver. Upon returning to the table, he shoots Sollozzo fatally and then turns the gun on McCluskey. Following the shooting, Michael is sent into hiding in Sicily as the Corleone family braces for an all-out war against the 5 families united against them, alongside a crackdown from the police and government. When Don Vito returns home from the hospital, he is distressed to learn that Michael was the one who killed Sollozzo and McCluskey. Meanwhile, the marriage between Connie and Carlo is falling apart. They have public arguments over Carlo's suspected infidelity and his controlling behavior towards Connie. According to Italian tradition, no one, not even a powerful mafia don, like Connie's father, can interfere in the private disputes of a married couple. regardless of issues like cheating, finances, or domestic violence. One day, Sonny notices a bruise on Connie's face, and she reveals that Carlo struck her after she confronted him about an affair. Angered, Sonny tracks down Carlo Rizzi in a crowded street and violently beats him for abusing the pregnant Connie, threatening to kill him if he ever touches her again. In retaliation, Carlo conspires with Don Emilio Barzini, the Corleones' main rivals, to have Sonny killed. Later, Carlo has one of his mistresses call their home, knowing that Connie will answer the phone. The woman asks Connie to tell Carlo not to meet her that night. Distraught and pregnant, Connie confronts Carlo, who uses the fight as an opportunity to hit her, intending to lure Sonny out of the Corleone compound. When Connie calls the compound to inform Sonny that Carlo has attacked her again, an enraged Sonny drives off alone to confront Carlo. On his way to Connie and Carlo's home, Sonny is ambushed at a toll booth on the Long Island Causeway and brutally shot to death by several hitmen armed with Thompson submachine guns. Tom Hagen delivers the devastating news of Sonny's death to the Don, who calls in a favor from Bonacera to personally handle the embalming of Sonny's body. Instead of seeking revenge for his son's murder, Don Corleone arranges a meeting with the leaders of the 5 families to negotiate a ceasefire. The ongoing conflict is draining their resources and threatening their very survival, and it is the only way for Michael to return home safely. Revising his earlier stance, Vito agrees that the Corleone family will provide political protection for Tattaglia's drug trafficking, as long as it is regulated and not sold to children. During the meeting, Don Corleone deduces that Don Barzini, rather than Tattaglia, is the true architect behind the mob war and Sonny's assassination. While in Sicily, Michael patiently waits out his exile under the protection of Don Tomasino, an old family friend. He explores the beautiful countryside, accompanied by his loyal bodyguards, Calo and Fabrizio. In a quaint village, Michael encounters and falls for Apollonia Vitelli, the stunning young daughter of a local bar owner. Michael and Apollonia court and marry in the traditional Sicilian manner, but soon his presence becomes known to the enemies of the Corleone family. Just as plans are made to relocate the couple to a safer environment, tragedy strikes when Apollonia is killed by a rigged car bomb intended for Michael, which explodes upon ignition. More than a year later, in 1950, Michael returns home and reunites with his girlfriend Kay after 4 long years apart, 3 in Italy and 1 in America. He expresses his desire to marry her. Although Kay is hurt that he took so long to reach out, she accepts his proposal. With Don Vito partially retired, Sonny dead, and middle brother Fredo deemed incapable of running the family business, Michael steps into a leadership role. He vows to Kay that he will make the family business completely legitimate within 5 years. 2 years pass, and Clemenza and Salvador Tessio voice their frustrations about being bullied by the Barzini family, asking for permission to retaliate, but Michael denies their request. Instead, he plans to relocate the family's operations to Nevada, suggesting that Clemenza and Tessio may eventually break away to create their own families in the New York area. Michael also assures Connie's husband, Carlo, that he will have a significant role in Nevada, unaware of Carlo's involvement in Sonny's assassination. Tom Hagen has been demoted from consigliere and is now merely the family lawyer, with Vito assuming the role of consigliere once more. Hagen privately questions Michael about his new position and also raises concerns about a new soldier being groomed under Rocco Lampin. Don Vito clarifies to Hagen that Michael is following his guidance. Some months later, Michael travels to Las Vegas to meet with Mo Green, a wealthy and cunning casino owner eager to expand his business. After the assassination attempt on the Don, Fredo had been sent to Las Vegas to learn the ins and outs of the casino industry from Green. Michael, with arrogance, offers to buy out Green, but is met with a rude refusal. Green believes the Corleones are losing power and thinks he can strike a better deal with Barzini. As Michael and Mo engage in a heated negotiation, Fredo sides with Mo. Afterward, Michael warns Fredo never to align with anyone against the family again. Returning home, Vito takes a moment to explain his concern that their enemies will likely try to kill Michael by using a trusted associate to set up a meeting as a cover for Assassination. He also reveals that he never intended for Michael to lead a life of crime, hoping instead that his youngest son would achieve legitimate power as a senator or governor. On a delightful summer afternoon, while Don Vito was playing in the yard with his grandson, Michael's son, he suddenly suffered a heart attack and passed away. Following that, a grand and magnificent ceremony was held, attended by all the heads of the mafia families. At the burial, Tessio suggests a meeting with Barzini, which reveals Tessio as the traitor Vito had anticipated. In response, Michael orchestrates a series of murders to occur simultaneously while he stands as godfather to Connie and Carlo's newborn son, Michael Francis Rizzi, at a Catholic church. Don Stracci is killed, along with his bodyguard, in a hotel elevator by Clemenza, armed with a shotgun. Mo Green is shot through the eye while receiving a massage by an unknown assassin. Don Cuneo finds himself trapped in a revolving door at the St. Regis Hotel, where he is shot dead by Corleone's soldier, Willie Sicily. Don Tattaglia is assassinated in his bed, alongside a prostitute by Rocco Lampin and an unidentified associate. Finally, Don Barzini is shot on the steps of his office building, along with his bodyguard and driver by Al Neri, who is disguised in his former police uniform. After the baptism, Tessio believes he is en route to a meeting he has arranged between Michael and Barzini, accompanied by Hagen. Instead, he finds himself surrounded by Willie Sicchi and other enforcers as Hagen steps aside. Realizing that Michael has discovered his betrayal, Tessio tells Hagen that he has always respected Michael and insists that his disloyalty was purely business-related. Tessio is then taken away and is never seen again. Meanwhile, Michael confronts Carlo about Sonny's murder, forcing him to confess his role in orchestrating the ambush, as Barzini had approached him directly. Michael reassures Carlo that he won't be killed, but his punishment will be exclusion from all family affairs. He hands Carlo a plane ticket for Exile in Las Vegas. However, as Carlo gets into a car headed for the airport, he is strangled to death by Clemenza, acting on Michael's orders. Later, a distraught Connie confronts Michael at the Corleone compound, where movers are taking away the furniture in preparation for the family's relocation to Nevada. She accuses him of murdering Carlo in retaliation for Carlo's abusive behavior toward her and his suspected involvement in Sonny's death. After Connie is forcibly removed from the house, Kay questions Michael about Connie's accusations. He refuses to answer, reminding her never to inquire about his business or what he does for a living. Kay persists, and Michael ultimately lies, telling her he had no part in Carlo's death. Believing him, Kay feels a sense of relief. The film concludes with Clemenza, Rocco, and Al Neri arriving to pay their respects to Michael, now the new godfather. Kay watches as Clemenza kisses Michael's hand and greets him as Don Corleone. This is where the story of The Godfather, Part 1, comes to an end.